Chris, I think we did it. I think we're okay. Can you hear me?
I can, but I don't trust you.
I don't trust me either, actually. How's it going,
How's it
bud?
going? Good. We haven't really spoken that much over the holidays, so we're kind of we're doing a legitimate meet and greet with everyone else at the same time.
So exciting. How was your time away from, well, I guess away from life, really?
Ah, busy family, lots of family, and hosting. So uh, we don't get to relax until after everything. So we get like for real. It's like I don't actually feel like I get to relax until like New Year's Day, and it's like a couple days, and then it's like you're back to the grind, right? I, I don't know. As much as we like to host, I almost wish we could just like it'd be nice to be able to just like go to people's places and then screw off. But I like to control things.
I get that. I mean, we're the same way. We do. It's like 3 days of chaos followed by more chaos. Yeah, we host a lot. I'm definitely say I'm tired of my family, but they can go away for a while.
I just like I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat here, and Savage Gamer's like, I wish there was drug dealers around that just sold barbecue on demand. It like, dude, it's called like I guess
Walmart?
they don't have skip the dishes there in the States, right? But like what is it like
Dash, they have Dash, don't they?
Dash, yeah, and Uber Eats and Grubhub, I think. Anyways, yeah, those are that's what you want there. That's we eat way too much of that at home here. Lindsay and I spend too much money on delivery of things. I have literally had Skip the Dishes bring me a hot dog and an energy drink before.
You are trash.
It's
Absolute trash, my friend.
total first world bullshit, right? What's even worse is the 7-Eleven's like 3 minutes down the street.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Be better, Chris. Be better.
Anyways, thanks to everyone who's checking back in the new year, guys. It's awesome to see you all. Jenna, awesome to see you too. No, we're not taking away your mod abilities. You still get your specials. Yeah, special thanks to the patrons. We love you guys. If you want to be a patron, you know what to do. Otherwise, for the rest of you guys, we're just glad to have you here shooting the shit with us as we talk about 2025. You know, it was before we jump into things, I was thinking to myself, Ryan, that
Yes.
one of the problems, not problems, I mean it's a problem, I guess, but it's also kind of a neat thing about VR is that we usually don't find out about games until they're like almost like upon us. And I was trying to think to myself, I'm like in like looking at the big games that we ended the year with. So like Batman, Metro, Alien, and Behemoth. Which one of those? How many of all four of those did we know that they were coming in January of 2024?
Behemoth we knew was coming.
Yes, because they teased that pretty early the year before, I believe. I
Yeah.
believe we might have knew Survios was working on an Alien game.
No, we definitely knew that. I don't think we knew. I don't think we knew by the beginning of the year that it was coming just yet. I think we were kind of on the assumption
Don't
that it
think
would.
we knew about Metro.
I
I
want to say
feel
no to
like
that one
I
either.
feel like Metro was more like in the
I think that was an
spring,
Oculus
early
reveal.
summer.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was a meta reveal during one of the Connect things.
Uh, Same with Zombie Army if it had dropped. And what was the other big one I mentioned there? My
Behemoth,
brain.
Aliens, Metro,
And Batman.
Batman. Right.
And
As
Bat
I'm wearing the Batman shirt right now. I'm like, which game is it?
and I don't remember when we knew about Batman.
Um.
But I feel like it might not have been until early 2024. I don't feel
Yeah,
like
that you can
I don't
see.
feel like we had that much of a
No, we
run up.
definitely didn't know at the beginning of the year. Regardless, it definitely 100%.
And so my point it being that as fun as a video like this is to do is like what do we know in 2025, it's kind of like it actually looks pretty good for 2025 considering like that we don't normally know a lot of stuff at this point yet. I mean, a lot of that has to do though is that a lot of games got delayed. Like Aces of Thunder slipped into 2025. Arcan Age slipped into 2025.
Well, Arcan Age was never officially
Okay,
2024, so.
but you know what I mean, though, right? Like, yeah, but it is pretty sweet to get a game like that in the beginning of January. Zombie Army slipped. Hitman slipped.
Yep.
Right. I'm just looking at the list here of games we're going to talk about, and like, so there's some bangers that kind of slipped, right? And so sweet. Like, I mean, that's just, to be honest, I'm like, that's fine, because I definitely do not feel like we needed those games to drop in December. Like, they were all originally kind of November, December type of thing. And so, with that being said, here we are, 2025, looking at January, and Arcan Age dropped today.
What?
Woohoo!
It did drop today. That was exciting. That was fun. I've been playing that game for the last little while. You can find my review on the channel. I tried to be as comprehensive as possible without, making it a half an hour long video. It's good. I mean, it's someone, I didn't really think about this. I don't really think about this when it comes to VR, but it's like someone had mentioned this would be a terrible flat game. And I was like, yeah, it definitely wouldn't have the same. I mean, honestly, the whole hook behind it is its immersion, but it really is the hook behind the game is just how immersive, like the things you can do in the game, and just how easy it is to navigate the world. Like, it just wouldn't translate to a flat game very well. So I kind of saw the point there, but that's not what we're here to talk about. It's a great VR game.
I don't know. It depends on the person. I mean, Ryan and I talked.
Navigating is the best part, man. Like climbing and jumping those ledges, and it is that tactile nature of just VR makes it fun. If you were just pressing X to climb, and I think it would just lose some of its charm.
Oh, would it be a better game? Like, would it be less of a game in flat? Absolutely. I personally feel like you could say that for a lot of games. And I mean, obviously, we're all VR fans watching this, so we think that a lot of flat games would be better in VR, or almost every game would be better in VR. There are some games that I don't think would be better in VR. I mean, there are a few instances of that. I mean, until proven wrong, I still have, there's a few games that I would say I feel like kind of just don't make the transition that well. But what I was going to say was that, like you and I spoke about, a lot of, like, I see a lot of Merville influences, and I said this in my first impressions game of Arcan Age. I see a lot of Merville influences in the fact that there's a lot of platforming kind of inspiration here. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I kind of know, because of our talks with one of the guys that developed this, was that there is a lot of inspiration from the games we grew up with, like, like Banjo and Spyro and games like that, where it's kind of like you come into a world and then it's a collectathon of collect all the things. And like I said to you, it's like, it's a, I was going to say a chicken on a stick. It's a carrot on a stick game.
It's a chicken on a stick.
and it depends on if you want that or how much you like that. Like, if you're someone who loves just getting a list of things that you need to collect all these things for, and just find all the things and find all the secrets, it's a beautiful world to do that in. And I feel like that would still translate into the flat game world. But yeah, I mean, you had said that there's a bit of repetition to the game, and that becomes more of a thing if you don't have the wow factor and the immersion of VR. Because I think I said to you too, when I did my first impressions, is I was like, it's just a really nice game to be inside. Like, it's gorgeous. And
yeah, something else I realized too when I reviewed it is, it's a gorgeous game, like you just said, and it's, the mixture of nature and tech and fantasy is all wonderful. But another comment I'd mentioned after the fact, just like, it's just nice to be in a game that doesn't have me in caverns and tunnels and sewers. And that was like, yeah, it's actually not too far off.
Not playing it safe. I mean, you and I spoke about this earlier again, is that it's like, in a lot of ways, it feels like kind of like what I want a hubris to be. I mean, hubris is more of a linear narrative, so I guess if that's what you kind of want, but I feel like outside of that, this game pretty much does everything better. Speaking of comments, I've seen a few comments of people saying, like, it's bullshit that this isn't on Quest. I'm
Oh,
glad this
Jesus,
isn't.
no,
I'm
man. I mean,
glad this isn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a really well optimized game on PC, on PSVR. It's gorgeous and it's well optimized. But I don't want to see this game on Quest. I mean, even as nice as Hubris is, Hubris isn't doing things on this scale. And I just a large amount of the appeal of this game is the gorgeous visuals of it. Yes, it plays really. It's very polished. You know, it has fun game mechanics. If you love collectathons, it's all there. If you like sci-fi world building stuff, it's all there. But
mhm.
a lot of it comes down to the visual flair. It really is. It's a big competitive advantage. I don't want to see. Can you imagine like this game brought over to the Quest and it's just like pop in galore and the like dynamic lighting's just gone. It's just like
No, I mean, it is the best thing is it does check off all the boxes when it comes to presentation. Like you said, the dynamic lighting is on point. The shadows, it's so pretty. The game is so damn pretty, and to take away from that to get to run the Quest, and even though the Quest 3 has been impressing us of late in regards to what it can do,
it has
I've
its
still
limits.
seen, Batman, as great as Batman is, I just seeing what's on display here at any given moment, dumbing any of it down would just ruin the experience. Ruins a dramatic word, but it would definitely hamper the experience, and it wouldn't be the version I'd recommend to play, unless
I
they
think
did something magical. But there's just no way they could pack in what's in here for the PSVR from the PSVR 2 and PC versions of the game.
I mean, they've still kept in check the world size to a certain degree for VR. I mean, this is a VR developer that knows its limitations and it plays in that sandbox quite well, I think. Vitruvius should definitely be applauded with the level of polish and just the scope of the game that they have created here. They're not a big studio. I'm not sure how small they are, but I think they're pretty small.
Couple of
And
dudes, I want to
I,
say.
I I really do think that, and it's like I said in my first impressions, like Skydance and Vertigo games, they should be ashamed of themselves in some ways. Like and Servios, it's like yeah, all those games are great. Those like, but they all had issues at launch. They all had like major polish issues, and this game kind of like shows them how it's done, kind of in a lot of ways.
I mean,
And
it just shows you how much a developer can do when they love VR and know what they're developing too. When they're not trying to, come up with these weird solutions to things like, examples, I guess, eluding me, but just you can tell they knew exactly like, everything in this has an answer. And to a point where it's kind of, I guess, a little bit too much as far as like
like
having
in
to go to
the
different
options and the
stations and
settings.
yeah, but do you just the amount of interactions that are here and stuff that the game forces you to do as far as like going to the machines to like smelt the stuff and do the thing, and you're always put to task in some way, shape, or form. Um, but it never feels let's say tedious, but as samey as it can be. Like when you go back to your smelting machine to get rid of all your junk for like the umpteenth time, even the way they do that, it's still simple enough where it never feels like a burden. I think that's what Vitruvius does so well is, like any game, I said this game can be very samey, and it very much can be. And I said some people will think it's like a perfect VR game. But I think what Vitruvius does is it still manages to not go outside of putting immersion and enjoyment ahead of, compromising for, possible like, uh like VR sickness, for example. Like it doesn't. It's not trying to figure out a way to go. This makes people sick, so we had to like slow the game down to a crawl or or teleport only or anything like that. It embraces VR as a whole, and I think that's the biggest takeaway from this game is that it really is like a love letter to VR, and it
Right.
delivers all the things we want. Maybe not perfectly as far as like a lengthy story based campaign, or it's a lengthy campaign, but the story the narrative can be a little bit wanting compared to something else, but it still checks off all the right boxes for I want a pretty game, I want a shooter, I want a melee brawler, I want to explore. Like it covers so many genres, and does them so well. It's just nice. It's a breath of fresh air to not feel totally restricted by a game, given its combat options and choice, and still let you kind of do what you want within its realm. Like I've said before, immersion's a big deal for me, and the second something ruins that or hampers immersion, it just takes me to the VR game. And Arcan Age very, very, very rarely had me thinking like, oh, like, there's the VR side of this, or oh, I can't touch this button. You can touch anything. I'm sitting there poking buttons with my sword just to see if I could do it, and just dumb stuff you wouldn't think of. But when you can do stuff that you just like when you're just messing around and it works, you're like, damn, they thought of that. And so many games don't.
It just really feels like a VR game made by a VR developer that knows VR and loves VR. Like it doesn't feel like a game made by a committee. That's one thing. It definitely feels like a passion project made by guys who actually know VR. And I think that that's probably some of the problems that I think you feel in games like in games like Aliens and Behemoth and Metro to various degrees, is that I feel like you can feel that you can maybe feel some meddling in some of those games and a lot of different cooks in the kitchen. And Arcan Age feels pretty focused in what it's trying to do. I mean, I don't think it's a perfect VR game. I think that I'd be focusing on some of the padding, some of the repetition, some of the AI. I mean, Ryan does a much better job of taking a deep dive that in his review, but I have played it as well, and so I just think those are. But AI and melee combat are just like some of the hardest things to bang out in a VR game. And I would argue that AI in a VR game, especially one as open as this, becomes so incrementally harder than even flat screen games because of the flexibility and the movement that you have. You could mess with an AI so much more in VR because you don't have set move sets that it can calculate for. Like you can really mess with an AI system. And it's, again, not to jump into the melee conversation again, like we did the episode before, but it's like these things come up when I'm playing this game, and it's really hard not to look at this and compare it to Behemoth. Yeah. And decisions that were made on either side. And I do feel like if someone loves Behemoth's melee combat, which is not me, they may not love the approach Arcan Age takes. I prefer Arcan Age's approach, to be honest with you.
It's similar, but it does feel more refined.
They don't have the weightiness. They're not trying to add that same weight factor, but and it's not quite as, I don't know, gamified as Behemoth is. Again, I mean, that's just a totally separate episode, and we got to move on to all these other games we want to talk about. But I just, yeah, it's a nice surprise to have in January. I would say it's about as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think that's right on point. Which is, and watch we were doing our episode for the games for the rest of the year in 2024. We got so jacked up when we watched that trailer. Like, we were pumped, and this delivers. I mean, it is, honestly, I'd be surprised if this wasn't in game of the year contention by the end of the year. Despite what we don't know and what we do know, this is a phenomenal way to start the year. And if anything we've said in this game or about this game is enticing you, it's going to deliver. It's a solid VR game, and more than solid. It's great.
It reminded me a lot of Stormland, which I said many episodes ago, where I said that I was just getting some vibes from that, like kind of the mechanical open world, and even on that same level of visual style. And that was an Insomniac game. Like, so damn, like, I mean, it's impressive. But just before we move on, I was going to say is that, like, when I saw those trailers, I was like, can't be nearly as open world and expansive as these trailers are kind of lending itself to. And I would say that I was correct in that assessment. Like it still has a certain scope that it's trying to fit into. The more I play, the more I agree with what I said in my first impressions videos, that it feels like a platforming game. And then it's like, oh, this is Tree World 3-2. And it's like you kind of complete that stage and you collect all the shit, you open the door, and you can move on to the next one. I mean, the only thing it's missing is like the top-down map where you're like, blink to the next spot and then enter the world.
Actually, well, that's at your teleporter.
Yeah, well, yes. Not quite the same, but totally. Anyways, so the next game I wanted to talk about briefly that, again, is just, it's out now, is the heck is the full name of the game now?
Pirates Jolly Roger is what you're gonna go for?
It is Pirates
VR Jolly Roger.
There we go. Pirates VR Jolly Roger. And it's on PC
Please
only.
feel free to enlighten me, because I actually know very little about this game.
Well, I can't say I know a ton more. I've played a bit, but I haven't gotten to the point of it fully opening up. It's PC only. It's PC only. It says it's coming to PSVR 2. It's another premium VR game.
It's coming to PSVR 2 soon. I believe it's actually on the store.
Yeah, okay.
For pre-order, I believe.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too excited about that for people. Like, I mean, like, just let's just check our shit. For multiple reasons. One, I think that might be. You know what else? Okay, you know what else is in the store? Lo-fi. Okay.
Did they ever get funding? Do we have any idea where Lo-Fi is at? Because it was supposed to be out last year. They ran out of money.
Yeah,
I actually forgot about Lo-Fi. I mean, I gave them my money already for the PC version, so like I did my part.
Last I heard is that Blair said there was some stuff happening and that he was gonna complete the game. So good. I don't know what that. I can't imagine.
2026, baby, woo!
Oh yeah, that game isn't coming out in 2025. I'm sorry. It's just not there.
Hey,
yet.
It was 2024. Remember that one trailer said 2024.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be great. It's the next. It's for VR. It's the GTA. It's the Grand Theft Auto 6. Upload
VR says Pirates VR Jolly Roger is coming to PSVR 2 this year.
Yeah, this year. I would say that's probably fair. Later in the year. I don't want it out of PSVR 2 in the state that it's in. It's good. It's okay, but it could use some love.
Q2 2025. Look at me and my investigative abilities for PlayStation.
Okay, so anyways, back to the PC side of things, which I have played. It is a good-looking VR game, but you can see it's got some budget in it, like, and it's kind of a hand-holdy adventure title. If you guys want to know what it is, like, essentially, it's from what I can gather from what I've played, is you do go to different parts of the map as you go along, and it kind of tells you a tale. And as you go along, you do all the VR things that you're used to doing. You know, there's some melee combat, there's some climbing, there's some swimming. There's, it's like kind of a linear adventure title with a little bit of exploration in the world, in the open maps that you get. It's a nice looking game, but it's not like, I mean, it's not a AAA game. I don't know what else to say than that. Like it.
You son of a bitch.
It's a nice looking game. It doesn't feel like a Quest game. It definitely feels like a game that belongs on PC and PSVR 2. I don't know if you've got footage of that playing for anybody.
Oh, it's playing, baby. It's playing.
Woohoo. I think as long as people know what it is, it's like I said, it's kind of you go through this little adventure, and the voice acting is a little meh, and the music's a little eh. And that's where it shows its budget, but the visuals are pretty on point, and it's just not, it's not incredible, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's no Arcan Age. It's no Arcan Age.
No Arcan Age. That'll be every game. It's no Arcan Age. It's no Arcan Age.
I would, yeah. The VR8 on the box art, the VR grid. It's no Arcan Age. No Arcan Age. And so, just to finish off about games that are out, like, basically right now, I guess the other one that I wanted to talk about was Assetto Corsa Evo for all of you racing sim fans, which I include myself in. That is
out. I'm going to give away a game. Boring racing games,
guys. Unless put it this way: the VR, the game is a little rough. Even it's in early access, and it's extremely early access. It's got like 20 cars, handful of tracks, and the VR is not ready. It is not ready. So just keep that in mind. Like, if you want to, and it's not a cheap early access game. It was still like, I think, 50 Canadian. So probably 40 American. And I mean, I'm a big Assetto fan. I've got the other two. I've got Competizione. Is that how you pronounce it? I think so. And of course, the original.
That sounds like. I hope that's not how you say it, because it sounds like you're like racist Italian. Competizione.
That is exactly how you say it, though. Competizione.
It's me, Mario.
And it's, I mean, like it's gonna be a killer title. It's just not there yet. The developer behind Assetto Corsa is absolutely killer. And as far as I know, this is a PC VR only game. This is a sim game with deep sim roots on PC. I know that the last Assetto Corsa games have come to console, but I don't think they've had any interest in doing VR. So I don't know. There's no word on VR coming to PSVR 2, but as it stands right now, I saw a guy with a 4080 Super, and he was barely hitting 50 frames in VR. So
Guess he needs a 5090.
yeah, the game's not ready, and considering that Assetto Corsa runs so well in VR, and again, not to bore people too much, but because it's kind of one of these things where it's like you either totally know what I'm talking about Assetto Corsa in VR, or you don't give a shit. And if you are one of those few people that was like, I like racing games like Gran Turismo, and I have a PC, and you haven't played Assetto, dude, it's just that the vanilla Assetto Corsa is just not where it's at. This game's been out for so long that there's a content management mod that you can download, and it just handles all the other mods. It has graphic mods, rain mods, lighting mods. You can go, and I mean the mod community is insane for Assetto Corsa, and sounds like Assetto Corsa Evo, which is the new one, is going to aggressively support that community too. But it's so not there yet. Like that's at least a year or two out even until the game's in that kind of state. But if you're hungry for a new Assetto Corsa, at drop today. But you will be supporting a very early in development game. Just know that going in. But people are talking about exocars. I
guess it's still technically coming to PSVR 2. I kind of forgot about that.
And I don't know what's going on with that, guys. All I can tell you is the last time I talked to the developer was right around the release of it on PC. What was that? Early November?
I think it was late October.
Was it? And the last I heard from them was they told me that they had failed Sony's QC for the third time.
Yep.
And I don't know, man. I mean, it could be possibly that the game was met with quite a bit of criticism for, well, the things that I mentioned in my review. I mean, it had some tracking issues with the controllers. The multiplayer was a little blah. The game was just a little bit bland, and the wheel support and force feedback was toast. It was garbage, and the game was just kind of like kind of forgettable. It looked nice on PC. And so, I don't know. I mean, Exocard's just, I mean, you don't want it yet. Like, if you don't have it on PSVR 2 yet, just let them cook. Because there have been some patches on PC. They have been tweaking and working on the control. I think they've added in some more content. It's just not there yet. So don't get too excited about it. You're not missing out. Really. I mean, there's a good game underneath there, but it's a small developer, and they might have bitten off more than they can chew. But I mean, if they're going to keep working on it, that could be a killer game by the time it hits PSVR 2, or at least it could be a good game. That's it. That's all I got for. Oh no, you know what? I was gonna say that's it I got for racing games, but I'll just segue to Chrome Colossus said so. Flatout is also coming to PSVR 2. Is that coming to PC too?
That I couldn't tell you. I mean, I have the trailer up right now, so if you just wait 38 seconds, it'll tell us hopefully at the end.
I think it's PSVR.
Yeah, this is from the Quest, Steam, PlayStation VR 2. There we go.
Oh,
this is from the Flat to VR guys, right?
Oh, they said Quest 2 and 3, so it's hitting everybody. Yeah.
This is the Flat to VR guys, right? This is their second game?
Nope.
No? Okay, sorry.
Nope. It's just called Flatout. It's just Flatout VR. That's where you're getting at.
Okay, maybe. Are you sure? Hold on.
Yeah.
Flatout VR publisher. I'm looking forward to this one. Flat to VR. Flat to VR Studios. Eat
look at
a penis.
Okay, good. That's cool for them. That's there's two titles on this list then that were from Flat to VR.
And really? I don't think I know what the other one is. Surprise me, don't tell me.
Okay. Don't read the notes then. And so
look, this looks sick. I mean, I didn't really, I knew this was coming, but I didn't really know. I kind of forgot about the game itself, because this Flatout used to be Burnout or something like is they're
No,
related, aren't they?
no. So
In no way they're related.
I now you
Okay,
got me
I could be
questioning.
wrong.
So I'll tell you. So Flatout 1 and 2 were made by Bugbear. And Bugbear, my understanding is, if my memory serves, they went on to do Wreckfest. And I believe Flatout 3 was done by another developer and it sucked. It was just not worth mentioning. So it sounds like Flat to VR is making the first Flatout into a VR game, which is cool. But again, this is all pulling from my memory. Flatout 2 was the one that was awesome because Flatout 2 brought in all these mini games where you like were like launching your car and your character, and you could like launch, and there were like exhibition games where you could like eject your guy out of its car and then try to like throw and like
Yeah,
fly him through like
definitely played this.
flaming hoops and then
Yeah,
into
okay.
bowling pins, and
This
it was
is ringing
almost
bells.
it almost became like a Hot Wheels track and stuff in some of the like, that was the most fun in the game. It also had a racing side to it, which was cool. It was very Burnout-y, and that's why I'm starting to like. I'm like, but I don't think the Burnout guys were involved.
Doesn't
in that
look
game,
like it.
right? But I can see how you'd think that because it feels like the kind of the way that they approached arcade racing with the blur and the boost and the way you could like take out guys by sideswiping them and stuff. Yeah, but what I really am hoping that we just haven't seen yet as they reveal more for Flatout is that they have brought in like a lot of the exhibition stuff because that would be so cool in VR. If you could launch yourself out of your vehicle and then guide yourself through the flaming hoops and stuff and do all that ragdoll stuff.
Do you remember? I mean, this is going back a ways. Do you remember Trackmania?
Yeah.
For PSVR 1?
Yes.
That game blew me away. It was a really poor implementation of VR in some respects, but what it did is it lets you go on those crazy courses and do the crazy, like, jumping from half pipe to half pipe from the cockpit of your vehicle, and you never left the vehicle. So it was it was one of the first games to really, really, really test your VR like legs because I remember Christmas. I was thrilled. I couldn't wait to do the stupidest things in that game just to watch my vehicle, like watch from first person as my vehicle flew across a map, like twirling and spinning. And then like this has shades of that, and that tickles me in all the right places.
You know what game is starting to go after Trackmania's kind of type of gameplay? Funny enough, I was messing with this over the holidays. Was Trackcraft, which was like on App Lab. Yeah, it's a mixed reality game too, so you can like build these courses in your living room and like you can drive on your floors and on your walls and off your tables and stuff if you've got the right things scanned in. And when I first played it in like let's call it early access on App Lab and everything. I mean, it was a physics-based racer that didn't have a lot to it other than you could build some tracks and kind of goof around and pick up your cars and throw them around. But the game is growing in leaps and bounds. It's now in full release, and I think they're still patching a lot. And it feels a lot like they've taken some things from Trackmania. They've taken some things from the Hot Wheels games, like where you can unlock like packs of cars and you can see them in their cases, and then you get to like play with those cars and bring them into your game world. But it has a lot of the trials kind of thing that Trackmania had in it, and you can like pull like front flips and back flips, and you can go loops, and you can drive up the walls, and now you can go. It's even though it's a little rough, but you can go into the first person view. You don't just watch the car. What would be really cool, and we're so not there yet though, is it like because you can play it in mixed reality, so you can see yourself going loop to loops like in your living room and everything. It would be really cool if you went into first person view and then you were like in that Honey I Shrunk the Kids view of your own living room. I mean, we're so not there. The amount of processing power that they would have to do to be able to like. I think it's impossible, actually, now that I think about it. I mean, how do you even do that? But anyways, Trackmania and VR, guys, if that has a sweet spot for you or a soft spot, sweet, soft, either or, check out Trackcraft. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped for Flatout.
It looks good. With just this trailer alone, like I said, I'm looking forward to this. It's not a racing sim. It looks like Carnage, and
it's total arcade.
Carnage.
It's total arcade. And Flat to VR did a really nice job with Trombone Champ. It was a really nice polished game.
It's nice to see them spitting this stuff out. I mean, relatively quickly. Then you said there's another one on this list as well. I mean, obviously, a lot of people in the industry and people who know, like, we're pretty pumped to see these guys get a hold of some bigger licenses and start doing some damage. And even, but if Trombone Champ was universally loved, I think, and assuming they deliver on this, looks phenomenal. Good. I hope this sells well. I hope it's. I want to see more from these guys because it seems like they're doing the right thing. Obviously, you know, I want the BioShocks or something ridiculous, but how they're going about their flat to VR ports is looking like a really solid plan.
Yeah, you got to be smart about it. I mean, you got to go for licenses that are not going to break the bank because, again, like they know what pool they're playing in, right? And the guys that are behind this have been there. They've seen VR's ups and downs and the over expectations, and I think they know what they're doing with this. I'm going to guess like these licenses are probably pretty cheap. I mean, we might as well let's just tell you the third game then. Now that we're talking about Flat to VR's other game, if you want to get some, if you want to get your footage ready, there is a game called Robo Quest.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have guessed that because I don't know what that is.
So Robo Quest made a bit of a splash in flat gaming, obviously. Hence, Flat to VR. I don't know. You're asking me questions I don't know.
Put you on the spot there. I apologize.
Robo Quest. Bang.
I'm just trying to see if this is going to ring bells or not. It looks like Swarm, only you're on foot.
It does a little bit. I mean, people will look at that and go, "Oh, it reminds them a lot of like what you call it? Oh my God, why is my Borderlands? Like it's got that similar kind of art style to it. So it's a roguelite. Sorry for people who might be disappointed to hear that, but what I've heard is it's a really good one. It's a ton of fun. I was like, it's not on Steam, so I don't know. But anyways, it's supposed to be a lot of fun, and it looks like the footage of it looks. I mean, it looks fun.
Yeah, hopefully you lost me at roguelite, so it has now it has to really work hard to get me back.
Yeah, sorry.
I just have I don't mean to be like that, but it's tough.
It came out in 2023. It has very positive and overwhelmingly positive by on Steam.
Good.
Yep. It a fast-paced FPS with roguelite mechanics, playable in single or two-player. Shoot and run your way through randomly generated environments. Pick up upgrades along the way. Sounds like a roguelite. Upgrade your base camp and unlock persistent upgrades to customize your playstyle and dive further into each subsequent run. It's just, I think it's supposed to just be a really super slick game. And it looks, and it kind of looks like they roguelited Borderlands in some ways. Like,
yeah.
It looks like it's got quite a bit of focus on gunplay and stuff. It's just supposed to be, I think, just supposed to be a ton of fun. Yeah, everyone's saying like that. It's just really good. It's really fun. See, if you're looking for a roguelike game with a great variety and build crafting between runs,
Yeah.
Cool.
No,
yeah. Some of you are mentioning Gunfire Reborn, Risk of Rain 2 is kind of like in the same kind of pile. Supposed to just be a really good, really slick playing movement game. It looked to me, it just like, again, we're talking about Flat to VR, like taking on projects that are the right size for them. That just looks like it. Like, like roguelites are easier games to make because of the procedural generation, and so you get a little bit more bang for your buck on the development side of it as well too. So I mean, but if they grab a really good one, another game I'd love to see them approach would be a game called Void Bastards. Which I played actually on the Switch, and it's a roguelike too, but it's so awesome.
Do we know what RoboQuest is coming to? In regards to headsets? Everything,
I believe. Yeah.
Seems to be their MO, so
yes,
that makes sense.
Again, they know that's kind of, I think, what they need to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, make money, you got to be on Quest,
right? And it seems like I'm kind of surprised Flatout's coming to Quest as well, but we'll see. You pick a game. I've been talking a lot.
I will pick a game. I'm gonna go for something a little bit closer here, I guess. In Wanderer, Fragments of Fate. It's funny. I have Wanderer, Fragments of Fate in here, but is there another name attached to that as well?
No, that's it. and it's
Okay,
coming, and it's coming. So I actually sent you a link today that
you
they're
did.
asking for codes, and so I would imagine that the release date is coming sooner than later. All they ever said was that they were going to delay it to Q1. I think they were apprehensive to
I think it was sometime in February, I think, but I can't remember the
most
exact.
I could the most I could find was Q1, unless they've refined that. Like, and this is right off their own X account. Um, but the fact that they're starting to get a list together for review codes, February sounds right.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, like, so this is this is the revamped version of the 2000. I want to say 19. I could be wrong on that one too. That seems like too long ago now. 2020, 21, maybe 4 years ago. That seemed right either. Say 2020 is my final answer. Anyways, it's a remake of that, but not just a remake, but more of a reimagining, I guess, where they've taken the game, but they've added a bunch of new levels, new mechanics, new interactions. They've updated the visuals. They're basically, it's kind of like Wanderer 2.0 is kind of how they're describing it. Um, I know you've taken issues with the visuals in these trailers as far as their upgrades, quote unquote. This is coming to Quest. I was gonna say two, but now I'm questioning two as well. But it's coming to all platforms regardless. And I'm kind of pumped for this just because I remember when this thing dropped, man, people were comparing this to Half-Life Alyx in regard to immersion and visuals kind of back then. And for myself, comparing the visuals from the original to what they're showing now, what we're seeing in this trailer, I think it's a huge improvement. It definitely looks like it's more in line with what we expect from higher quality games from, this year or last year. And the puzzles were clever. A lot of directions. You're traveling through time. It has a lot of cool elements that I think will make it very popular, especially considering I don't know if it got the love. We're just in a different place now with VR as far as the amount of quest sets that sold compared to when this dropped. So I think there is definitely a place for this now, and given how much praise the original game did get, I expect this to do quite well. I hope it does, anyways. I guess.
It's
It,
kind of interesting that they're doing this. Like, it's a remaster, but it's almost kind of like a soft reboot of the game too. Like,
yeah.
it's much more than a remaster. It's almost like maybe they included ideas that they just couldn't finish the first time, but it's gotten a visual overhaul. I don't actually like the new visual looks, to be honest with you. I feel like it's becoming more quest friendly. Even though it's got like sometimes it's got a bit of a richer color palette in some ways. Like, if you look at the character designs and stuff, like, they're actually moving away from some of the more realistic looks. So I think it's going to become a thing for some people. Um, I'm not a big puzzle guy like you are. This game, I felt like the puzzles were they had a nice balance between like exploration and the puzzle aspect, and the puzzles were never too mind bendy. Like, they didn't feel like they were just like screwing with you. They're like they made you feel smart when you kind of figured them out. Like, I'm not the big puzzle guy. And it sounds like they're going to be doubling down on kind of the exploration, the physics-based kind of nature of the game, because it did kind of try to be. There was definitely some. I felt like there were shades of Half-Life Alyx in there, like in the way that you were kind of playing around with the world and just messing around with crap,
Mhm.
even though its physics weren't quite on point. So maybe that's been improved. But the other thing that they've said that they are going to be expanding on is in some of the combat stuff, and you can see that in the trailer.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I feel like this has the potential to be just a grander adventure and less of a and leave people with more of a flavor of it being a complete adventure game with puzzles and combat, instead of it being remembered more as a puzzle game.
yeah. We'll see. I mean, like I said, kind of forgot, but the end of this trailer show also says like we're working on Wanderer 2. So I also can't but feel that maybe they're trying to, yeah, like I said, kind of improve the reputation of the game ahead of their sequel, which I'm assuming will be bigger and better even than this one, or at least bigger,
Well, if they want to jump
better.
off the first game too, then like you said, that could be the fact that it's almost a bit of a soft reboot if they want to continue the narrative.
Mhm.
I don't remember how it ended. I don't know if I finished it.
No, I hit a glitch. I actually hit a game breaking glitch that killed my game. I got really far. I was like, I think it's like 80% done or something like that. and I couldn't get out of it. Couldn't reload saves. I kept hitting the same glitch. So I'm looking forward to. I am looking forward to kind of playing this again. I really hope there's enough different in here, just because I don't like going back to games that I've already beaten.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer shows a lot of different, but that could
Yeah.
also be them focusing on the different. It looks cool. It looks cool. It looks like it could be a fun. Like, again, my expectations are a little because it's like I have no interest in playing it again. I just don't. I mean, the fact that it's coming. So to add to what you were saying, it is coming to Quest 2 and 3 and PC, as well as PSVR 2. I do.
Boo, Quest 2, boo!
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Oh yeah,
sorry, I know you guys. I'm sure there's lots of Quest
there.
2 guys that are just surviving, but like, I want VR to get to a point where like no one's questioning it, and if that means Quest 2's got to go, it's got to go.
Yeah, it's got to go. It's time. I mean, you look at this trailer, and this is PC and PSVR 2. I know it says PSVR 2, but we'll see what it looks like on Quest 2, because it's pretty impressive here in this video footage here. So we'll see. It's good. I mean, like I said, it's still just got a little bit of that like remaster vibe to it. So I'm curious to see how different it truly is, like you said.
Plus, I put in PSVR 1, which means move controllers. So, bleh. Thank God that's done.
Yeah, it's gonna be the fact that it was such a physics. Again, it had a lot of physics in its kind of like sandboxiness. Better controls, better tracking is just going to be better all around. Because I played it on PSVR 1. That was my experience with it. What else have we got? Something a little old, a little new. Hard Bullet, which is a PC game, is coming to Quest.
You know, is Hard Bullet actually like is it still early access on Steam?
Oh yeah, it's totally still early access.
Isn't it early access since the dawn of VR? It got like what, one overhaul at least, if not two overhauls at this point.
Hard Bullet.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would say it's had.
I played the original demo.
Really?
Back when I first got my gaming PC, I swear to God, dude. So like 6-7 years ago, and I remember getting an email from him saying like, "Hey man, like I redid the entire game from scratch, kept the name, check it out." And that's the version I think that's out there now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the way I've often explained the game to people, because let's see, it came out in 2020, and
there's no way there was a version,
and it's still it's still early access, right? And I don't know. They say that they're starting to like complete it, but I don't believe that at all. And I don't know how long ago that was. They keep adding to it, right? Even heading into Christmas, it got a huge update. I mean, the game still really doesn't have a lot of point to it. It's a sandbox game. But here's the thing. This is how I explain it to people. If you ever wanted like an hard R-rated version of Boneworks, it's Hard Bullet. Like, because it's just a playground of chaos. And I mean, there are some like there's kind of attempts to have like some kind of like action-based levels, but the meat and potatoes of the game is going into its like sandbox levels. And there's even a torture chamber one with like where you can take guys and like put their heads on a grinding wheel and put them into a drill press down on them. If you guys watch my video for the Violent VR games in VR, it's like the second to last one in there. It's awesome. And they've given you, I mean, it's just a playground a physics playground of just gruesomeness. They've changed the carnage now, so there's like more levels of detail to the body, the body like with degradation, and there's more gore, and it's a wonderful piece of VR content. But it is, and you know what, and it's like in my collection of PC games or any PSVR 2 games for that matter, it is still like one of the crowd pleasing games. I just throw people into it and like, here, have fun. Like you can strap rockets to people's legs and set them off. You can go to a welding machine and like weld guns and knives together. You can change the ammo type so you're shooting swords or shooting garbage cans. Excited. Oh, dude, it's just good times, man. It's just ridiculously over the top. And when I saw that it was coming to Quest, I was like, oh yes, because more people it's so fun. It's so fun. And if you're messed up like I am, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds exactly right. I mean, if we covered the episode about we started with melee and the gore and stuff like that, and you just got all excited. And this is you actually covered Hard Bullet in that goriest games video. And I know this is just right up your alley. It does it looks quality, like you said. Like I think Bone Lab or Bone Works, but just with this kind of extra level of carnage.
But with a really heavy focus on violence. I mean,
yeah.
and it's ridiculous too. You can go in, you can like make the enemies, like give them big heads, big bodies. You can make them midgets and just squash them. And like
little people.
And you know what's the funny thing? I'm watching this footage. This trailer shows nothing. I should have uploaded the clip from my most violent games.
No, because then we wouldn't get monetized. They would pull this up. We wouldn't get the views on this episode.
Shockingly, Chris. that video of mine is still monetized, although I think it's shadow banned.
Oh, probably.
But I mean, yeah, this is absolutely nothing. They're really not showing what the game can do. I remember like in my video, I like took a guy, threw him up on a meat hook, chopped all his legs off, like, shook his dead hand, blew him up. It's just wonderful.
Good for you. All right, I'm going to pick a game next year. We've talked about it before, but we'll get it out of the way here. In Hitman World of Assassination, this will be the 4th VR release for this damn game. And hopefully they get it right. Isn't
this the 1, 2, 3? Oh, you're right. It is 4.
This is the 4th time they've released this stupid game. And I'm really hoping this time they get it 100% right. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the PSVR 1 version. I enjoyed the PC version. Heck, I even kind of enjoyed the Quest version, as disgusting as it was. But that being said, all those versions screwed up VR control. It's just screwed up. It's a port from a flat game. But when the first PSVR 1 game came, it was very clear just how much of a port it was, and with the use of the Move controllers or the DS4 and the Move, it was just a messy system. It didn't matter, but we kind of forgave it for its shortcomings because it was Hitman in VR, and it was the whole game, it was actually all 3 games if you had paid for them all. It was amazing. And then when they released the PC version, they were like, and dual wielding, guys, we did it. And we're like, all right, perfect. Now this is now the version we're gonna play. And they totally botched that. It was dual wielding with a giant asterisk or quotes, because it was still basically they gave you a second hand, but it was all but vestigial. And then fast forward to the Quest 3 version from XR Games. I'm just going to begin XR Games, right? I do this every time.
X Real.
Is it X Real? Yeah, X Real. And they released it. Still had the same kind of problems, interaction issues that the PC version and PSVR 1 version did as well. Plus, the visuals were awful. Worst pop-in I've ever seen in a VR game, or any game for that matter. And they kind of changed the whole color palette to be like more cartoonish.
It's XR Games.
It is XR Games. Yeah, I see. I knew it. And that was just a botch, and we'll see if they ever get around to fixing that. Totally. I doubt they will. So this is kind of, man, it's IOI, I think, is the one that are actually developing this again, or IO Interactive, sorry. So I'm really hoping they nail it, because I would love to play this game the way it's been advertised since it was first launched, and working on the PS5. So we're going to see what should be the best looking version of this game. I am stoked. I actually really enjoy the Hitman games in VR. They impressed me, and I had fun despite the wonky VR controls.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that they're finally going to nail this, which is good, and I'm looking forward to playing it. I am looking forward to playing it properly. The Hitman games are just a little hit or miss for me. Pun not intended. I just don't like stealth games, and so I have a really hard time. My patience wears thin in these games, because all I want to do is run and gun and just kill things. And it's really you can try. You can try.
Like when you do that, but
I mean, it's just funny after we just talked about like how much like glee I got from Hard Bullet. It shouldn't really surprise anyone that that I don't have patience for Hitman, and the fact that I just want to go around and kill things. Like that's I don't know what that says about me. I mean, Flippy Nugget says that this will make that Hardboiled will make people into serial killers. No, it's how we work things out.
Yeah, right. Games don't cause violence. We established this like 30 years ago.
But yeah, so I have no intentions of putting Ryan into a grinder, but I have every intentions of grinding up people in Hardboiled. Yeah, so I mean, I just, I'm really, I got a good feeling about this one. I think that IO Interactive probably feels like they need to make this right. Purely from a branding standpoint. I don't think, I'm actually really surprised they're revisiting it, to be honest with you.
Oh, so am I. This was an absolute,
how is it worth their time?
Because it's already there. They already had, the entire game's already been built for VR. The game already works on PlayStation VR. Like this is probably like one of those like three people in the dev team worked on it for a few months and finished it off properly, because like this is already out. This already exists on PC. All they gotta do is fix the controls. That's all they're doing. So this should be easy money for them.
Yeah, I hope so.
I agree, man.
I hope so. Because I played the PC version, and I remember just being like, it even felt like the PSVR 1 version resolution-wise. You had to super sample the shit out of that just to make it look even better. Like, it had issues, man. And like you said, the half-ass attempt at two-handed support, and I'm surprised they're going back to it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you were close. You were close. Just finish it. Like, we'll see.
And now here we are. Hopefully,
we will see. Next game up, I want to stick with this. I guess this type of game that we're kind of talking about a little bit.
Murder Sims. Keep going.
Murder Sims, baby. Now, so the game I want to talk about is called Beyond Sandbox, and just to give Ryan a little bit of a heads up here, if you're trying to look for the video,
yeah, this thing's labeled funny.
It is labeled the future of melee combat.
Got it.
And they're speaking of turning people into serial killers.
God, you're a psycho.
Yep, this is right up there. There's not a lot known about this, other than it's supposed to be coming out, I think, later this year. But it looks like it's doing some really cool stuff with physics. Like when I think of like VR physics and Carnage, Hardboiled comes to mind. Another one called Blood Trails, which I think is in some ways kind of the definitive Psycho game, if you really want to get your bloodlust out. But this game looks like it's going after that in some ways. If you really like some of the stuff that they're doing with body physics and how it relates,
soaking control.
But you can actually like break their bones and like,
oh man,
like it's. I mean, they're really just, this trailer right here, they're really just showing off some of like the things it can do. Like, here, a shovel to the face. And so in some ways it kind of looks like they're actually kind of taking what Hardboiled did, because it's and mixing it with what Blood Trails did, because it's a little bit more, I don't know, like, goddamn. like here, like, we'll just shove this guy's head into this guy's head. And there's just, I mean, fun times. If you're like,
is there an actual game here?
Nope.
Okay, just so we're clear.
I mean, maybe there will be at some point in time, but from what I can tell, it is like I called Hardboiled I called it the Bone Lab of violent games. This looks like it wants that title, and it's just it looks like it's just wonderfulness. These are the types of games. Like, I'm actually kind of shocked that Hardboiled's going to Quest, because I always said to like Savage Gamer, I'm like, Hardboiled and especially Blood Trails will never exist anywhere but PC, because they're so messed up.
Coming to PSVR 2.
Blood Trails will never ever show up on PSVR 2. There's no way. So it is a murder sim. Like, even when I was playing it, I was like, I feel dirty. Like, it's just not okay. Go watch my Violent Games video. It's the last video on there. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's progressed even worse from then. It's
makes him so happy.
I like fun games. It's fun.
I like fun games too. This is not a game.
I can't say any more about it without making myself completely psycho. Blood Trails. That's all. Go check that out, guys. You're for those of you like me, you're welcome.
Did we mention that Alien Rogue Incursion's coming in February?
To Quest?
To Quest?
Well, it's on my list.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Alien Rogue Incursion because I just brought it up.
There you go.
So yeah, guys, this thing got delayed back when the PC and PSVR 2 versions launched. Probably a good thing, given, let's say, the state of the game, like it was awful, but I feel like there's some, the developers have been listening to feedback and have been trying to improve it. So hopefully whatever improvements are made as far as the alien AI and encounter stuff and things that people complained about are addressed, and they kind of get Quest users kind of get the more, I guess, enhanced isn't the right word, but more balanced, I guess, version of this game. I'm really curious to see what it's going to look like because I haven't seen any Quest footage of this thing. I don't know if there's anything out there. I tried to find a Quest trailer.
I have not been able to find any Quest footage. The fact that it was delayed. Let's put it this way. The PSVR 2 and especially the PC version were not super polished when they launched. And there was a big day one patch. And the PC still had some pretty major optimization issues. So if they released it like that, then the Quest version had to be in much poorer shape. I would not be surprised to see it get delayed even further. And I say that because I do know from talking to the developer that they were going to be doing an overhaul to the alien behavior a little bit so that it didn't feel like it was such a carnival shooter of aliens.
Stupid Nathy.
What?
Alien Rogue Incursion on MetaQuest 3S. That's his title for his video. And he's playing it through Steam Link.
Yeah, bullshit.
Clickbait title, Nathy. Clickbait.
Yeah, it's crap. I
clicked
it. But anyways, my point being is that I'm like, if I was someone on Quest waiting for it, just be happy that you just let them cook, because I personally I'm a big Alien fan. I want to play it again, but I'm waiting because I want the aliens, I want them to feel a little more selective in how
alieny.
Well, yeah, there's just a little too much of them. It's just kind of, even I
agree.
Like,
I totally agree with that.
Oh, and I said to the developer, I'm like, man, I don't want you to make it feel like Alien Isolation. I know that it's supposed to be feeling like Aliens. I know it's supposed to feel like a shooter and that you almost kind of never feel safe. I like that about the game, but it needs to ebb and flow just a little bit more. And my understanding is, I've been reading the patch notes pretty carefully. They have not addressed that yet, because that's a much more major undertaking. Because if you think about it, if they start changing the flow and the number of aliens that are coming after you, they gotta start worrying about the damage output of your weapons, how spongy the aliens get, ammo placement, health placement, how that plays into a lot of the scripted moments. But they know that that's something that they want to work on. And my point being is that if they're working on that, I'm going to guess they're not going to drop the Quest version until that's in place. And so who knows how that's delayed things, in addition to them just getting the Quest version ready. But we'll see. I don't know how they're going to pull off the visuals. I mean, I know it's a Quest 3 only game, and I guess we can look at Batman as a comparison.
No, it's tight corridors. It's not exactly the most open game. I mean, this is due in less than a month, unless they delay it. So,
but we know that performance-wise, it still was struggling, on PSVR 2 a bit. I mean, there was some low-res textures in there, and even then, even with, they said they were using dynamic foveated rendering, and it still had to use reprojection on the PSVR. And the PC struggles too with optimization. Even on a 3080, it was hard to get that game to run great and look great. It was just trying to find that middle ground. And they kind of explained to me that it was really designed to run on hard settings, and not ultra on anything for the 3080.
I feel like that's just that's just poor optimization on their part.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The game is not super optimized yet. When you can play a game like Half-Life Alyx, and the thing will run on a 1060 and look great. I mean, it is an optimization.
It's been a long time. I wonder if we're just giving this thing too much praise in 2025. just looks like ass now. It's been a while since I played it, so I'm just curious to see how it holds up by today's, all the, when we get these premium games in VR. This, now is Alex still? I mean, sure, I know Alex still holds up. That's
It
a stupid
does.
thing to say, but I wonder if there's more flaws, or if you notice anything else in regard to like, you know what, this could look better. I've seen better looking stuff in Metro, or just
Oh,
the sideways thing.
look. I mean, if for those who've watched the channel know that I say almost every chance I can get that I think Half-Life Alyx is overrated. I do. It feels like an older game from the slow movement system. No, teleportation to like climb on anything, but it still looks really slick and really polished. But it never goes hard on you. Like like if you want to talk about like from the how much it would push a system, even though it has a nice physics engine, it never has to do a lot of physics things all at once.
No.
The levels that you're walking through are still pretty corridory, and like it only rarely opens up, and it doesn't throw a ton of enemies at you. Like again, almost like we were talking about with Vitruvius, who made Arcan Age. It was made by developers who had a really good sense of the sandbox that they were trying to create a game in, and the restrictions of VR, and like they made a game that worked really well within the scope of what they were trying to make. Because like Half-Life Alyx is a much more focused game than like Half-Life 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
You've been checking these games off the whole time?
I have, buddy.
Damn, I should be looking at this list more often. I keep trying to scroll through my same videos. I'm like, okay, we haven't talked about this one yet, this one yet, this one yet. I feel like we're both very organized, but on two different pages, so it's not really working out well.
Well, you know what? Speaking of, we were talking about, like, we've been talking about Boneworks and Bone Lab and this and this and that. Well, Boneworks is coming to Quest, right? Which, I mean, I kind of wasn't expecting that because they already got Bone Lab, which is essentially the sequel. But a lot of people like Boneworks better. And it's like they have officially said that they're moving on to Boneworks 3 or Bone. Yeah, well,
did they confirm it? I thought they just said like another project. Did they say?
Oh, you're right. You're right. Maybe they did just say another project. Maybe I just threw that in there. Fake news.
I thought it was just another project. VR Grid says it here. Boneworks 3 is coming, even though Boneworks 2 isn't a thing.
I would really like. Oh, what's their name? Something Zero.
Stress Level 0.
Stress Level 0. I would really love to see them take the engine that they obviously have spent a lot of time on and turn it into a full game. Like, like, I don't know, like go after the Half-Life Alyx. Like if you guys know the story, like they originally
Boneworks is more of a game than Bone Lab. And Bone Lab's campaign got crazy. I actually really like Bone Lab's campaign, despite the fact it was more of every level was like just a new way to test the engine.
Well, that's kind of what Boneworks was too, though.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it definitely was.
I mean, what sucks for PSVR 2 people is that for them to come out and say, look, we're throwing out Boneworks on the Quest and we're moving on. Like,
yeah,
you're not getting it. Like, I mean, I think it's pretty, I feel like that's kind of a definitive middle finger to PSVR 2 people, which, like, it's kind of shitty. Like, I'm surprised they wouldn't put out a Bone Lab Boneworks double pack and just like $80, bang, there you go, PSVR 2 people. Yeah, but it's just like, especially since it sounds like they're kind of throwing Boneworks at the Quest just to make money.
Oh, this totally. I mean, obviously they got Bone Labs working. I'm assuming it's the exact same engine. So obviously, the porting process probably wasn't terrible for their team to do. And like I said, it's a license to print money because I mean, Bone Lab got a ton of attention back when that first dropped.
It's just kind of, I don't know, man.
No, it never like I like Bone Lab. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not the biggest fan of these physics-based games.
I know you're
when
not.
The game surrounding it is kind of shallow, because then it just makes it like you have to like make your own fun.
And I'm good at that. Although
you are,
but I don't spend a ton of time in them. Like as much as I talked about Blood Trails and Hard Bullet, and I had a lot of fun in them, I also just have a lot of fun putting friends in it and watching them goof around and be like, oh my god, look at what I can do. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that.
I mean, they even teased Boneworks in the Bone Lab game. I'm just kind of recalling it now because you can get that secret door, and if you look through the door, you can see Boneworks. Like it's like they're working on it. Like it was like it wasn't even it was in the main hub area. You look through a door and you can see Boneworks, the big logo there. So I think they kind of teased that 2 years ago
Yeah. So
on
I
their
don't
train of thought.
I don't know. We'll see. It's just I guess I was just talking to someone about this recently, and I think I might have mentioned this in an episode, but it always sticks with me when I think of when I wonder why a game wasn't ported to PSVR 2. And so I was talking to Ryan Eagle there, over X there, like months back. Ryan Eagle guys created Golf Plus, which is like the definitive golf game on Quest and PC. And I said to him, like, because he was talking about their workflow as far as how they've got a pretty slick engine, or I guess a routine down in their development cycle of how they work on DLC, because it really is a live service game, and so it's a constant income coming in. And Golf Plus is definitely a really bright light as far as like how you be profitable as a developer in the VR space, and they're often pointed at. And Ryan Eagle's a pretty savvy business guy, I think, as well as a developer. And so he said to me, I said to him, why don't you do a PSVR 2 port? I'm like, it just seems like a no-brainer, like a walkabout. Like you have so much DLC and you have this constant machine churning out maps and just content in general. They even have a live, like literally have a subscription service built into the game too, if you want to go that route. I'm like, it just seems like you said a license to print money.
Mm-hmm.
And his answer to me was, well, we sat down and we worked out the numbers. And he's like, because of the size of team that they have, they would have to pause development on DLC in order to port the game over to PSVR 2. And he said to me that they did the numbers, and based on their expectations, the amount of money that they would lose in DLC, in the idea of like future DLC that they would get by just keeping the DLC machine running, they would lose money at the end of the day by doing a PSVR 2 port. That they would not make enough money. The fact that they couldn't even justify that future DLC on the PSVR 2 would still not make up. They were not willing to gamble on that. And I was like, holy crap. Like, and he's pretty savvy, like as a business guy. So he probably has a pretty good understanding of, what the actual numbers would look like, and what constant kind of growth would come from that. It's just crazy when I look at that and I think about like, why doesn't Stress Level Zero port the game over? And it's like, well, because they've probably done the numbers and they probably realized that it would be better for them to just move on to the next game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is disappointing to see stuff like that kind of, ignore PSVR 2, especially when, like I said, it's the whole haptics and eye tracking and all the things that could be used to even make the game better. But
I mean, look, fingers crossed that Stress Level Zero is looking at going, the next game we're going to make, it's going to include PSVR 2. So we want to just move ahead. We just want to just move forward, and what they get in our next game, they won't care that they didn't get that. Hopefully. Chris O'Connor, welcome to being a channel supporter, man. We love that. Thank you so much. Super appreciated. So big shout out to you there.
Thanks, buddy. Woo!
Yeah. Next game.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that.
Go. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to say. You can pick one.
Let's go. I mean, let's get Zombie Army out of the way. I mean, this is still coming at some point in time. I
feel like that's what the developer feels too. Let's just get it out of the way.
So yeah, I mean, we've talked this before multiple times, but this is XR Games. These are the guys that released Hitman and Starship Troopers last year on the Quest and I guess PSVR for Starship Troopers. And this was supposed to come out last October, and just radio silence, and nothing got released, nothing happened, and then it got delayed to 2025, and here we are. And I think Gamertag had said that he was glad for the delay because what he had played at whatever expo he was at felt undercooked, didn't feel like it was quite ready for release.
I've heard that from a few people, yeah.
And so hopefully that's the case. I know it supports 2-player co-op, which always is for the campaign. I like I love. There's not enough campaign co-op games in VR. There's not even enough campaign co-op games in Flat, for God's sakes, at this point. But having never played the Zombie Army franchise before, the trailer looks great. The trailer looks right up my alley. I know everyone's sick of killing zombies in VR. I get it. I'm not. So as long as I can kill them in gruesome ways and have some fun doing it, I'm down. I just hope it's better than Starship Troopers, which I enjoyed, and better than Hitman VR for Quest 3, which was much more divisive.
So again, if memory serves, this game was actually delayed not by XR Games. It was delayed by the publisher Rebellion, whose game it is, like whose franchise it is,
Yeah.
right? Like they're the ones. Rebellion is the ones who did like Sniper Elite and stuff, and it speaks
And that
volume.
crappy VR game where you controlled the ball the whole time. I just want to bring it up because it was just such a stupid game. It
You
was
mean
on
that one on PSVR 1? I
Yeah.
remember that. Was that
You had to
Rebellion?
control this little like it was like
Yes.
a ball. It was like an octagon or a decahedron, whatever it is. It had like rolled around the environment and like
Yep, I
dodge
remember that.
obstacles.
And it was
that was
supposed to.
Rebellion. That was developed and published by them.
Wow.
Sorry, I don't know. Just side note. Random VR fact.
Yes, I have a lot of those too. And I have played Zombie Army. Well, I played the trilogy before that, and then I played Zombie Army as well. And I was a little concerned because what I was seeing on the game, on the trailers and stuff, which just seemed like a really
Arcus
watered
Path. I didn't have to look it up.
That's exactly what it was.
Sorry.
Yep. That's exactly the one I was thinking of too. It was supposed to be like talking about Arcus Path now. I remember it was supposed to be
So
like
random.
slightly meditative though. Like that was they were actually like one of the selling features of it. That it was supposed to be like a chill VR experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't find it very meditative.
It wasn't
was okay.
chill, man. This thing was hard.
Stressed me the fuck out.
Stupid kid.
But anyway, Zombie Army, it looked really watered down, Ryan. Like, I mean, from someone who played, because it came out free. It was even a monthly game on PlayStation Plus, and so a lot of people probably played it. And there were quite a few systems in place. Like Zombie Army Trilogy was literally hordes of zombies with the Sniper Elite engine. Zombie Army, like the standalone title, was trying to be a lot more of a. It was like a combination of that with like kind of like almost like Left 4 Dead. Like it had a lot more upgrade mechanics and just a lot more to it. And this looks like it was really watered down. Like and you were coming like massive hordes of you coming out in the flat game. This does not look like that game. And so if it was already feeling kind of a little bit undercooked, I don't know. I don't know. I am still looking forward to Zombie Army, but I don't know how much I trust this developer. Like I know some people like Starship Troopers more than others. I mean, I guess when it was first announced and I didn't know who the developer was, I was just assuming it was going to be like running on the same engine that like, and it could be for all I know because Rebellion might own the engine, but the Sniper Elite games, the Sniper Elite VR games, and I was just like, okay, well, like the gunplay was pretty solid there. How much can you fuck it up?
I guess we'll find out.
And
I guess we should have probably brought this one up sooner than towards the end of this, but next week is Cold VR.
I know, I was looking at that too.
Which it's funny, I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. But it's the opposite of Super Hot VR. You basically, I still can't wrap my head. Time only moves when you don't. Wait, yes.
If
you have to constantly be moving. There we go.
So if you stop because you want to, basically the way I look at it is if you need to stop to think about like what you're gonna do, then you'll be bombarded. And you say it's hard for you to wrap your head around that, but it's pretty much like any action shooter. Like it's just like don't stop, don't let them get a beat on you.
Yeah, no, I mean I love.
Although that is kind of weird. Actually, no, that is weird because what that means is that when you move, it stops.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't make sense to me.
So as long as you can keep moving, I feel like you could exploit the crap out of it because you could just come up to people.
But I'm watching the trailer, and the trailer shows him moving, and the guys are still shooting at him and stuff. So now I'm just baffled.
I don't know. Maybe it's a power up that you can use. Maybe it's not all the time.
Now I'm just confused by this stupid game. Coming next week, I think we're gonna try to cover it on this channel.
We're waiting on codes, essentially. I mean, I know that a lot of people are. I've seen them talking about it, so it's kind of just a wait and see thing. No codes ahead of time is never a good thing. At least it's not usually.
There's been demos and stuff out. This thing has already been out in the wild for quite a while, so I think
I think it was in early access for a while.
Yeah.
You
covered Gunman contracts, right? That was the game.
No, we didn't.
Never mind. Sorry, I'm mixing up my games.
but we could. I mean, now you mentioned it, so let's go Gunman
Sorry.
contracts. It's okay. I'm actually surprised we didn't jump into Gunman contracts because it kind of relates to stuff we were talking about. For those of
This
you,
is pretty hype, man.
yeah, but I played this before. So in some ways, so if you guys are PC gamers, then you might be aware of this title. This was originally done by, I think, like a really small group, or if not one guy. This is a mod basically to Half-Life Alyx. It's because like it was using all the community workshop tools, because there's quite a huge library of there's entire realized games running on the Half-Life Alyx engine. The other big example was there was a guy did I think they called it Return to Rapture, and they kind of tried to redo BioShock in the Half-Life Alyx engine, and they broke it into I think 3 chapters or something. No, that's a lie. I think it was 8 chapters or something, but I played all of them, and it was pretty freaking impressive, man. These guys had created their own game. And
yeah, I don't think I know this story. I do, but
so this is a different group of people, and they essentially made John Wick, a John Wick simulator using the Half-Life Alyx engine. And it was if I remember correctly, it was just a 20-minute type of. It was a level you could go in and kind of bash through doors and shoot guys, and you were just trying to get through as fast as you could. If I remember, it's been a long time since I played this. Anyways, long story short, it's a full game now, and I wish I could tell you more information. I don't know if the team size grew. I don't know how they're getting away with if they're still using the Half-Life engine. So I don't really know how that works. Because it used to just be a free mod. Now they're going to sell it as a full game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have questions. It's called Hitman contracts, right?
Gunman contracts.
Gunman contracts. That makes more sense because they would probably not be able to say Hitman.
That'd be awesome. Hitman contracts. I could see IO getting a little annoyed with that one.
Yeah. So what is it? Is an action movie inspired shooter playable in both VR and in non-VR. Oh, interesting. They just call it Gunman Contract Standalone. And yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you much more than that from what I'm looking at right here. But I mean, look, it played really well. It was really slick. It's Half-Life Alyx. It's running on the Half-Life Alyx engine, so it has that polished feel to it. I'm
down. It looks slick, man. This trailer looks slick AF.
It says it's escaping the shackles of a Half-Life Alyx mod with an early access launch in 2025. I
mean, there's a decent chance that they just literally could have just purchased. I know it's but they could just purchase the license off.
So the publisher Miracle Pool is helping them with this, and it's based on the developer's very popular Half-Life Alyx mod. They turned it into a it's a mobster game.
I mean, this trailer just shows straight up just like John Wick, that John Wick number 4 when he's climbing the staircase. I'm literally watching that same scene right now.
Yeah.
Good for them. Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah, we're gonna rip it off hard.
Yeah.
It plays great though, so get excited about it.
I would briefly talk about, I guess we don't know too much there, but Resolution Games is releasing. They're going way outside of the wheelhouse here with their next game.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made a bunch of games. I shouldn't be saying that.
When I was doing some of these Horizon vids, guys, if you have a Quest, check out the Horizon videos. There's a bunch of us shorts up there of us whoring ourselves. But I totally lost my train. I thought I said when I said that.
Resolution Games and the amount of games that they have made. There we go.
They went hard on mixed reality, dude.
Man,
they dropped 3 mixed reality games in the last quarter, basically of 2024. They dropped Racket Club. Then they did what the heck was it called? Games at Home or something like that. Actually, I might be lying. That might not be the name of the game. But it was basically like Racket Club, but like it had bowling and it had badminton.
It was like a Wii Sports kind of thing, right?
Yeah, kind of right. But then Racket Club got a lot of those sports too built into it, so I don't really know what was going on there.
Spatial Ops, Home Sports, Racket Club,
it was Home Sports.
DBO Battles, Game Room, Bait, Gears and Goo. I remember Blast-On's theirs as
yeah.
well.
Now you're
Angry
going
Birds, Isle of Pigs, Ultimex, Acron.
Okay, but you're going way back into the shit. I'm talking about
They made a lot.
since Demio and Demio Battles. It's basically just been these 3 mixed reality games where they went all in on it, and they're all really decent mixed reality games. Like Spec Ops was actually pretty cool, and I wish I had the time to review it and focus on it, as well as Racket Club. I know a lot of the guys in the VR community were playing it a lot, and I was like, I don't understand why you guys are playing this. And then over Christmas, I played it, and I'm like, I totally get why you've been playing it.
We're getting sidetracked here. We're getting sidetracked with those games. They're making a Dungeons and Dragons game.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah. I mean, I would imagine it's gonna be Demio with all the licenses and lore that we want. Although I was thinking to myself the other day, like, my wife's really big into Baldur's Gate, which I think is a Dungeons and Dragons.
That's definitely
game,
Dungeons and Dragons, yes.
right? And
as a former D&D nerd, yes, it is.
Oh, I didn't know you were.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit! I wouldn't have been friends with you.
I used to have all the. Oh, I play. Yeah. I used to have it all till grade 10, so that's like a few moons ago at this point. But
wow.
Yeah, I painted. I still might have a figure or two somewhere around painted, but I got rid of everything else.
I got friends that are big D&D.
I was
guys.
Warhammer after that. I actually I sold all my D&D stuff to get into Warhammer 40K.
I had no idea you were such a nerd.
I still have all my Warhammer 40K figures somewhere because I was too proud of them when I painted them all up.
I know you're a big nerd like I am, and I know that you wear you earn your nerd card, but I had no idea you were like you're married with kids.
I made the choice in grade 10 or 11. I made the conscious choice to not be that guy and sold all my stuff.
I was gonna say
I didn't want to be the D&D nerd because I know it's cool now, kids. I know it's cool now. But 30 years ago, if you're a D&D kid, you were automatically in the nerd club in your high school, and I was like, I don't want to be in there. Not that I'm not a nerd and never didn't know a nerd. I just thought that was like a line where I was like, if I am trying to pick up chicks, which I was terrible at and never did back in the day. I just figured having D&D on my resume just wasn't a good thing. So I traded in my fun for the chance at women.
I made that same choice, except it was saxophone. I was in a jazz quartet. I was taking
That's so much worse.
And no, it wasn't, because if I had if you had continued to be that big of a nerd,
I'd be cool right now because look, everyone plays it.
Okay, you might have been cool.
I could be playing with Joe Manganiello and Henry Cavill right now. He's a Warhammer 40K guy, I guess. But it's beside the point.
Okay, but
cool.
All I'm saying is that I would have, if I had continued to play jazz saxophone, dude, I would have been like a snail walking around, because all you see behind me would be a trail of wet from all the women.
I saw this coming a mile away.
Well, you know what? I just didn't know you were that big of a Warhammer guy. Like, I've met Michelle. You just know where you would have gotten her if you hadn't put your little painted sculptures away.
Yeah, I gave them away. Yeah. Look, Michelle is a different story too, but that's way. This is no longer podcast friendly. But yeah, Resolution Games making Dungeons and Dragons game. I mean, I'm down.
Oh, dude. I mean, I think I'm the bigger Demio fan of all of us. I've easily got over 100, 200 hours in Demio. I've played those 5 campaigns more times than I ever thought I would. I love Demio, and I'm not even a big D&D guy. Like, I don't play tabletop shit, and it's like completely changed me into like actually being like kind of interested in playing that stuff. And my friends that are D&D fans, they've bought quests to play just to play Demio. And so the idea of, if they can do it right, oh my god, if they can
they're gonna do it right, man. Like D&D is still pretty careful with their licensing, as far as I can tell, and they're not gonna let Resolution Games screw up theirs. Especially after like D&D came back huge because of Stranger Things. Like, D&D is still kind of riding a popularity train that it hasn't had for a little while now. Not to say it's the most popular thing on the planet, but even the movie,
Vin Diesel plays it.
So does Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, but Vin Diesel plays it with family.
With family.
And was it Henry Cavill? No, he's more a Warhammer guy.
He's a Warhammer guy.
Anyways,
It doesn't matter. They're
My
releasing a D&D game. That's cool.
my guess and is going to be that Dungeons and Dragons by Resolution Games is going to be more Demio and that kind of style, but with like more of that lore than it's going to be Baldur's Gate. Like I think
I no see now I know you don't know what you're talking about.
what
Matt,
I mean
like,
what I mean
it's
but what I mean by that is like but like Baldur's Gate is this huge campaign, right?
yeah.
Right? Whereas D&D was more like bite-sized campaigns where you were like really playing on like it was very much like a tabletop type of game. Like you were playing it was like playing like there's a game called Munchkin Quest, which you kind of kick down the door, open the rooms, what's in the rooms. And you're right, I'm not a huge D&D guy, right? And I know that that's kind of part of that as well. But I'm just saying, like, I could see them possibly going for the more bite-sized campaigns and just like getting the licensing and fleshing it out a bit more than I'm going like, you know,
Keep talking. You're frozen. That's really good picture you right now too. You're frozen.
Oh, awesome.
You can hear you. You can hear you, no problem. But you're.
Oh yeah, looks like I'm about to take a big old dick in the mouth. Well, anyways, enough of D&D. But I'm pretty psyched about that. Honestly, if that game comes out in 2025, it's my most hyped game of the year. And there's nothing even close. I love Demio so much. So much.
I can't fix your face. Hold on.
It's not on my end. I don't
No, it's definitely my end. Like it's just there. I got it. We're good.
I can't look at. I've been trying to fix my face for quite a few years. it's just fat and it's round and it's graying. It's just what it looks like. All right.
So I'll quickly go into Slender: The Arrival, just because it's coming from Burp Games. It got delayed from last
Chris's
year.
fat face. Let's talk about Slender.
Slender: The Arrival is coming out. I don't think there's an actual date this year. Oh no, that's the date. It's coming soon though, and I played the original Slenderman like way back in the day when that was like an actual thing for a minute, and the game's kind of spooky, and I can see this actually working quite well in VR. I just hope they deliver on the visuals. I mean, the trailer looks all right, but given the fact it's basically kind of takes place in one kind of foresty area with a few little assets to hide in and stuff like that, if they nail the visuals and make kind of look like a AAA. It's a small game, but if they can jack the visuals up, this could be a really, really solid little horror game. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing if they deliver upon that. That's it.
Okay, well, speaking of horror games, you might as well just carry on because I don't know much about Slender. Ghost Town, I guess, is it really horror or is it more of a escape room?
You're like it's like if Phasmophobia was like a puzzle game. I think.
Do you have footage of this?
Yeah, it's up right now. So this is from Fireproof Games, the guys that made The Room, which is now being displayed as I talk. And it's basically a puzzle game in a haunted house. So it's an escape room type puzzler, I think, from the guys that made The Room. And I think that deserves... It's exciting when... I know you don't like puzzle games, but these guys make good puzzle games. And so if they're making another one, it's worth mentioning because these guys do excellent work.
Yeah, see, you added that into my list. And I'm glad you did because I saw it. I was like, meh.
It's a cool idea. It's definitely, I mean, I've played puzzle games in VR honestly to death at this point, especially the escape room style of game.
Mm-hmm.
Not an actual escape room, but just the idea that you're stuck in a room, solve a bunch of puzzles, move to the next one. You know, there isn't like the risk of death, that kind of thing. But throwing on this whole like ghosty phasmophobia type element to it, it could be fun.
Well, going from one genre of game that you really like to another genre, it's supposed to be coming out at the end of this month, and I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But Boxing Underdog.
This one got renamed, right? Am I crazy?
Yes. Boxing Underdog is the
MMA
new
one.
It is the new. No, it's boxing. It was originally
BRSO.
It was bare knuckle.
Okay,
it was a bare knuckle fighting game.
BRSO right there. I can see it.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Anyways.
So it's I mean, they say that they're doing it because they think that it like better represents what they're trying to do. Some people are wondering if it's because it's easier to market it as a boxing game than it is a bare knuckle game. It should be known that it's interesting though, and I'm going to guess that maybe they were finding that they were getting kind of shadow banned on YouTube. I don't know, but because you notice the new trailer that they're showing is all focused on the boxing side of it, but it has all the bare knuckle side of it. Like if you guys look up look it up, the original title of the game, you'll see the original trailer of it.
I mean, technically, Creed had a bare knuckle fight or two in there as well, so I don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah, but this was a bare knuckle fighting game before that, and so it was more violent. If you look at the trailer, like this trailer is way more tame compared to the original trailer that showed like just bleeding faces, and it showed the guy like punching and then using an elbow, and supposedly that whole mode is still in the game. Is it a good boxing game? I don't know. Like the fact that they pivoted now, but it looks pretty decent, and you know, it's getting some pretty good buzz. So it's coming to Quest and PC. I don't think it's got a PSVR 2 announcement.
I'm pretty sure it was announced for PSVR 2 way back. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
I could be totally talking.
But honestly, as a guy who's been living in Thrill the Fight for the last like 2 months or so, using that as kind of like my fitness motivator for the day, playing this tethered would be so tough. You want to move around, you want to have that space, and what's missing in VR honestly is a lot of quality boxing games, or this kind of like style of game. Like Thrill the Fight's still the best I've ever played. Thrill the Fight 2 multiplayer only, still pretty janky. I don't recommend it just yet. It's cheap though. It's like $7 or $8, so I guess if you want to, you know, dip your toe in, I'm sure when the full version drops the price will probably increase. But I've been living in Thrill the Fight 1 and having a blast again still. And if we can get more quality boxing games, I'm down. I am so down to try this. You have no idea. Like it's my fitness regime. And if I can punch, I'm sick of punching the same fools in the face. I'm sick of the same fools kicking my ass on the endurance mode. I want to punch new fools. So I'm down. I'm down for this, Chris.
Okay, so there's an article here that I came across on Upload, and it was originally going to come out in November. So maybe, so even though I'm like surprised that it's coming in January, if it actually hits that, maybe it's further along than I think. So there could be other reasons why they why delayed it. Oh, yeah, funny. This is made from the guys that did Ven, VR Adventure. Yep. And it's going to have, like it says, like the full professional boxing. It also has authentic bare knuckle mode. It's going to have multiplayer, as well as like a campaign there for single player. You can customize your character, and they said that they're also hoping to deliver mod support at some point, so you can create your custom AI characters, which could be cool. Yes, it is coming out for Quest 2 Pro and 3, and then PSVR 2 and PC. I guess they said Q1, Q2. So yeah, it's coming to everything. And I mean, the footage we're seeing to me looks a little more PC.
Oh, for sure.
Even though they're saying it's the Quest version. I don't believe that, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see this in January. I just somehow don't believe it. But I definitely agree with you in that boxing games are tougher tethered. I mean, but not impossible, especially if you're used to it, I guess. I mean, I also have what you call it, like a tether for when I'm playing, and I mean it keeps it all above my head, so there's absolutely no reason why I couldn't just give her. It would not bother me in the slightest. For me, the biggest thing for those types of games is just I sweat like a pig, and I just don't. I don't know. Do pigs even sweat? I sweat a lot, and and it's gross, and I feel uncomfortable almost instantly in a headset, regardless of the headset. At least the nice thing with the Quest is you could literally take that facial interface right off, and if you have like a Bobo strap like I do, then it just holds on the forehead, and you just have open air anyways. Or you get something like something like this, you know, something that is easy to clean and wash off. Or if you've got I guess if you've got some kind of a replaceable facial interface from VR cover, you just rip them off, put a new one on, clean them out. I mean, it's just, I don't like the feeling of wetness and nastiness on my face. It kills physical VR for me.
All right, we've had enough of this stupid boxing game.
Enough for you.
3 more games to go. Vertigo 2. Into the Ether.
Getting DLC, buddy.
That was big. That's exciting. Pretty sure that's not coming to PSVR 2.
Well, they haven't said it's not coming to PSVR 2.
Dude, the developer said he dropped all support with PSVR 2. He said
really?
Any future updates. He said any future updates to the game will only be on PC version.
Did he say
so
why?
I'm not sure why this is being debated. He said it's not going to happen. He said because he released the whole level creation pack. It's not coming. He said, support for PSVR 2 isn't happening. So
That
I
sounds
don't
like-
expect this to get it either. I'd be shocked if it did, based upon what he said. I can't remember his name right now, but he's a lone dev who made
Wow.
Vertigo.
You know what that
And-
sounds? It sounds like he had a falling out with Sony. Like maybe he got tired of their QC.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe it wasn't worth his. Maybe it didn't suck. I couldn't tell you, but I just remember him saying, like, back when he first announced the level creator, that he said there'll be no more future updates to the PSVR 2 version, including any DLC. And that's exactly what this is.
Okay, well then you heard it here, and that sounds pretty legit from him.
Unless I'm wrong or he changed his mind, but I know that was a story. I'm 100% sure because everyone was like, this is BS.
The fact that there was no announcements of PSVR 2, it was just PC. There you go. Rogue, I don't want to talk about it. Guys, I did a fitness video, and I think the this is what Rogue's talking about, and the thumbnail said I am fat. And to be fair, that was pre-Ryan. That was a Shughead Gaming thing. And I realized how much I hate working out in VR for the exact reason I just said. And honestly, also being lazy, but I am back to working out since that video dropped, and I am trying to be less fat. I also just realized that I just don't. I need a better solution for working out in VR. As much as I love the idea of working out in VR and making working out more fun and entertaining, it just feels so gross. So I don't know. Don't expect a follow up. That really sucks about Vertigo though. Like for you, I know for a lot of PSVR 2 people, Vertigo 2 was, one of the favorite games. It's a really cool game.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, I agree.
I mean, I want to know more about that story, and I would bet money that it was getting tired of Sony's QC shit, because
I'll bug him and see if he'll tell me.
It's not the first.
I've talked to him before. Zach. It's Zach. I can't say his last name, so it's like TSKA. It's all over the map. But
maybe we'll see if we can get Zach on the pod. We don't normally bring on developers, but maybe that'd be a fun conversation.
Probably talk about anything.
Get some dirt. But Vertigo 2, I've heard it's got extra bosses, extra guns, some extra playing mechanics. I think I've heard 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. So that
it looks like a whole new game, honestly.
It totally does, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It looks like a totally new game. It's not just like a BS sequel, like in the same lab. It's a totally new experience. That's cool.
So the Midnight Walk
I am excited for this.
Yeah, and it's really a different flavor, hey, from anything else in our list. This is coming to all the headsets. I looked that up.
It's coming to just PC and PlayStation.
No, it's not.
You shut your dirty mouth.
I'm positive. Because I'm
HIV positive. There's no way it's coming to Quest. There's no way. You're wrong.
Look it up.
I will look it up.
What's this thing called again? I'm totally blanking.
The Midnight Walk.
The Midnight Walk. I brought it up.
You look it up while I talk about this, because I am pumped for this game. Like, so what they did for this game is they actually did this like a movie, in that they made everything in clay, or however they do this, the stop motion thing. And then they 3D scanned every model and then put that into, a VR. So it looks like, the, I'm forgetting the studio, but like the, no, that's not right either. Like Kubo, Coraline, the same studio keeps pumping these things out, and they're all quality ones. But this looks like that, and looks like dark and morbid, and thankfully not like Tim Burton dark and morbid. It's its own like weird ass style, and this looks slick AF. I am pumped for this. I thought it was originally a Sony exclusive, because I thought this was for sure a Sony developed game, like a Sony published rather. Like I thought for sure.
So you're wrong. I actually cannot. I might be wrong about the Quest release. I might be getting that confused with everything else.
Moonhood.
Yes, okay. Fast Travel's publishing, and it is on Steam. It's literally, I'm looking at it right now. So
and PlayStation VR, definitely.
Yeah, Sony kind of made it look like it was their thing.
Yeah, I thought it was
on their state of play, but it's not. It's coming to PC as well, which is cool.
I'm pumped. This looks slick. I am jacked.
Yeah.
I like weird and different.
It looks like it's just PC. Just PC and PSVR too.
Yeah. I knew. That's what I said at the beginning. This is just wasted all your time.
Shut up. You thought it
Congratulations.
was just PSVR. Shut up.
No, I knew. No, I said before this it was PC. I said because I found out today it was PC before this podcast started.
Rewind the clock. Wrong. Okay, well, speaking of PSVR 2, that brings us to our last title.
Our last game.
As you guys have probably guessed, if you are a PSVR 2 headset, actually, I guess it's coming to PC too, Aces of Thunder, which is from the same guys who made War Thunder. But this, instead of being a free-to-play game, this is a alone like flight. I was gonna say flight sim. I don't think we really kind of know how semi it is.
I'm sure it's out there now at this point. This game has been they've released dev blogs and all these things. I haven't been following it too closely because I honestly don't care about learning all about a game I can't play. So I don't tend to watch those. I just want to get this. I mean, there's a guy who fell in love with flight in Ace Combat and even enjoyed that garbage game they released, that came out last year. Wingman. No, that's not right. Project Wingman.
Yeah, Project Wingman.
Maybe that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ace Combat ripoff, yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't look great. It definitely looked like a PSVR 1 kind of game. This looks like they're putting a lot of effort and TLC into making this look like current gen VR. So I am stoked to get in a plane and shoot some more planes and fly over things and like mess around and like crash my plane and do all the things that I can in a plane. So I'm down. I'm down for this.
I mean, yeah, I really like flight games in VR. I mean, I think they work really well in VR as well. Like being in the cockpit, it just lends itself to it. On both on PC and on Quest, I actually really like the Warplanes games. They've got World War One, they have the Battle over Pacific, and then they have the modern one, which for some reason just feels like it's getting none of the attention and polish of those other games. It feels super early access for some reason, but regardless. Those games are cool, but they're just not on the level of polish and finesse that like Ace Combat had. Of course, they're visually not even in the same conversation as like Microsoft Flight Simulators on PC, which again you almost need a 4090 to even sign up to play. Like I mean, with the announcement of the 50 series cards, which if you're a PC guy, you guys probably know that they were announced. It's pretty much the only reason I want to probably a 5080 or a 5090 is because I want to be able to play Microsoft Flight Simulator properly.
And Aliens, don't forget Aliens.
Yeah, yeah. And for that matter, Green Hell also can really bust your PC up. But I'm pretty pumped about Aces of Thunder. I mean, again, ever since we got Ace Combat, those 3 or 4 teaser missions, I want more. And on that level of just like, because it's like the problem with a lot of flight games that we announce, especially like the Warplane series, whether you're on PC or Quest, it's like you get anywhere lower than like I don't even really know how high you really are in games. But as soon as you get like anywhere near the ground, it's just flat. Or it's pixely and it's just the immersion's gone. Yeah. And I want a game I want full lighting effects. I want to be able to fly down to the ground and actually feel like I'm flying over like a real piece of like geometry and not just like a flat cardboard cutout of something. Yep. I want everything that this game looks like it's going to be. I wish it had modern planes, but beggars can't be choosers.
That'll be the sequel. Everyone buy this so Chris can have modern planes in the sequel.
Please.
And yeah, guys, I think that's basically it as far as what we know about 2025. I mean, there's obviously a few more games to come. There's a bunch more that we just didn't cover because they don't look like anything special or worth talking about. Not to disparage any games coming that we didn't mention. We just, there's only so much time in a podcast to talk about so many games. But it's going to be a cool year, a fun year. And of course, like Chris said at the beginning of the episode, we don't know what's coming. So, and damn near Meta's going to announce something for sure. Hopefully Sony announces something. There's rumors that Resident Evil, they're remaking Resident Evil 1 again. So it's the Resident Evil 1 remake. I'm making jokes, but of course, because they're doing that, the rumors are swirling that might get the VR treatment as well.
I want RE5. And there's rumors about Resident Evil 9 as well. But I said this to someone else a little while ago. It's like, I personally would kill for Resident Evil 5 or Resident Evil 9 in VR. I actually don't really care about Resident Evil 1 again, but I'm not the hardcore. Like, I mean, they've never even properly remastered Resident Evil 1, right? And so
Yeah, they
I
did.
don't, not really.
On the GameCube.
Okay, shut up. But
What do you
they
mean? That was a full remaster. I don't care how old it was.
They
It was
didn't-
it was
but
a full over. They redid the entire game
it didn't
as a
get
remaster.
it didn't get the same treatment as the other remasters, though.
Yeah, because it's 20 years later.
I know, but I'm just saying, like when I'm talking about, I mean, on that level, where they almost reimagine the games to a certain degree.
It was. Go back in time. Go look it up after this, man.
I know.
played it.
Okay, I trust you. But anyways, but what I was saying is that like I'll take a Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 9 any day, and I'll be super pumped about it. But as far as the growth of PSVR 2, I don't want another Resident Evil game. Like I don't want that to be what Sony puts their money into, because it's not for everybody. It's a horror game.
Agree.
For a lot of people, they're horror games. Even though, like, you know, Village and 4 are really much more shooter games, like for a lot of people, they're scary horror games, and they're not for everybody. And I kind of want Sony to just like spread around and do something awesome. Like, let's be honest, Sony, Insomniac, Spider-Man. Come on now, do it. We saw Batman. Just do what Camouflage did with Batman, but Spider-Man.
I agree, man. They got Insomniac. Like, where's the Insomniac's other VR games, for God's sakes? Give us something. Like I said, it's the same argument. Sony's sitting on so much, even like great IPs. Just bring back something you've already made. For God, just something. I don't want to get on this rant again.
Take the Killzone license,
Yeah.
give it to Fire Sprite. Fire Sprite already did the Horizon thing. They've got a relationship. I don't even know if Fire Sprite's even like how much they're even functioning now. They also got downsized.
Mhm.
Sony. And I guess we can't leave this on a positive note. If anybody saw what Shuhei Yoshida had to say on the Kind of Funny Games podcast, I believe it was, and I know that there's more to this conversation than just the soundbite that's been going around, but when Shuhei was asked about what happened to PSVR 2, like what went wrong, his answer was, I don't want to talk about it, let's move on. And I think that speaks volumes of the fact that there was definitely some changing of the guard, and not everybody saw PSVR 2 in the same kind of light. And I think that's what some of the problems have been, as far as us not seeing Sony supporting that. And Shuhei's been such a cheerleader for PSVR that I'm going to guess that that's a sour spot for him. Anyways,
on that note,
tune in for the same level of positivity next week, same time.
Yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Everyone who joined in chat, all of our supporters, all of our YouTube subscribers, including the new guy, Chris O'Connor. Thank you as well. And yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week and going forward. We'll be here every Thursday for the foreseeable future. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's nice to be back, guys. 2025. Hopefully it's a better year for a lot of people than I think 2024 was.
Bring back COVID, I say.
I'm ready to hunker down again. I was just talking about that today. It's like num, isolation. I got games to catch up on.
Right.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Patreons, we love you. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you wouldn't mind on your way out the door. We never say that. We should at the front end of things. It really helps. But yeah, check out Ryan's review of Arcan Age if you haven't already. Consider picking it up, because it's a blasty blast, and it's a high point to kick the year off.
Absolutely.
2025 kicking off with Arcan Age. Holy crap!
I said say goodbye, Chris.
Woo!